What's up, everybody, and welcome to the HexxedPhenom Gamescast, the show where we bring you the news you need to know about video games each and every week. It goes live every Saturday on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom and on podcast services around the globe, places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, really any podcast service of your choosing. And I am one of your hosts, Joshua Wojcik, aka HexxedPhenom, and I'm joined by the abstract rocker, JP. JP, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. I got boosted yesterday, and today I feel like I've been hit by a bus.
Well, he's been boosted.
I've been boosted, which is great. If you're eligible, you should totally go and get yours. But
yeah, I have to wait another, month and a half, I think.
Yeah, I didn't have any reactions to the main two shots. So I was, when I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, oh, this is what people mean when they got hit by a bus. I'm like, shit. But you know, my uncle and two other friends got it yesterday, and they got the whole 9 yards. They got the fever, they got the fucking chills, they got the hangover feeling, the vertigo. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. So I'm glad I walked away with just feeling like I got hit by a bus.
Yeah. For my first two shots, I just got dizzy like the day after. That was pretty much it. Not even super bad. Just like when I was like sitting or standing, I would just be like, oh. I feel a little dizzy, but other than that, I was fine.
You just flop on the floor. It's like,
wow. But of course, before we get into, well, actually, there's not really any news this week because it is the holidays. So to celebrate, first of all, I wanted to wish everyone out there listening and watching a happy holidays, whichever you choose to celebrate, whether it be Christmas, whether it be Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, anything like that. Whatever you celebrate, we hope you have a happy and healthy day or whole, event, whatever it may be. And we hope you and your family are happy and healthy throughout the holidays.
Oh, hell yeah. We're rocking it.
For all you video viewers, you can see that me and JP are dressed pretty festively. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you should definitely go and check it out. I have jingle bells on my glasses if you wanted a hint as to what I look like. But I hope that came through on the mic. Otherwise, I just sound like an idiot. It probably didn't, but whatever.
Lottie is the new nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But
so JP and I are going to be counting down our top 3 favorite games of 2021. And it's going to be a hell of a good time.
Damn right, son. Then we got our honorable mentions.
Yeah, do you want to start off with the honorable mentions?
Sure. Okay, so for me, Riders Republic's an honorable mention. It's a game I'm going to be getting for Christmas, but I do know it's really, really fucking good. I have played it at my friend's, and it basically is a way better version of Steep because Ubisoft fucked up on that installment, and I don't know if it's a sequel to that game, but
I would call it a spiritual successor. I don't think Steep really had a story, so I don't think it could be considered a sequel, but
yeah, now you can do snowboarding, jetpacks, you can be on bikes, I think cars out. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. So I want to put that in an honorable mention because I don't actually own that yet. The other honorable mention I have is Mlb the Show 21. It is nice. Really, really, really fucking good. So yeah, I would definitely highly recommend picking that bad boy up. Especially if you want a baseball experience. For me, I haven't owned a baseball game since MLB 2K6, so 15 installments later, it happened, and it was really, really fucking good. Great goddamn game.
Yeah, I always hear really good things about the MLB the Show games. So they're really top tier, man. It's something, man. It's built for next gen, so I couldn't say no. PS5, I'm like, why not? I might look into getting the Show 22 when it comes out, but we'll see. So my 2 honorable mentions, the first one I'm going to talk about is Hot Wheels Unleashed. And you guys have heard me talk about this on the show a couple times. It came out back in September, I believe. And it caught me by surprise. It really did. Because honestly, when it comes to Hot Wheels games, I don't necessarily have the highest of expectations. At least from the ones I've played in the past. So for it to come out and for it to be honestly like one of the best games of the year and one of the best arcade racers of the year, or just to be in that conversation at all, I think is really cool.
Right.
And the game plays with scale so well, like as you would imagine from a Hot Wheels thing. Like you're racing around these huge environments, whether it be a skyscraper or a garage or, like a living room. And it's just like
everything looks so huge because you're a tiny little car, and they get the scale so well. And all the cars, instead of them trying to model them like real cars, they model them just like the toys. So you can clearly tell that it's all plastic and die cast and, you know, all that stuff. So the graphics look great, you know, the environments look great, and it's just a fun arcade racer. I really like it a lot. I definitely recommend it. And if there wasn't another certain racing game that came out this year, maybe it would have been in my top 3, but we'll talk about that later. My other honorable mention is going to be Far Cry 6. Now, I really like this game a lot, and I know some people are getting kind of bored of the Far Cry formula, but for me personally, this was my first ever Far Cry game. So for me, this was basically like a brand new experience, for the most part. It has a lot of the, you know, the stuff you expect from a Ubisoft open world game, but I really enjoyed myself, and if rumors are to be believed, the next Far Cry game isn't sounding that great right now, with it, you know, potentially them wanting to do, you know, this whole like live service thing, and I don't know how that's going to turn out, but for what it's worth, I really liked Far Cry 6, and I'm still considering maybe getting the season pass to experience some of that DLC. So,
Zach, that's not bad, man. That is not bad at all. Far Cry is actually higher up in my list, but yes, Far Cry 6 is a damn good game. I guess bouncing to number 3 for me would be Back 4 Blood. That game is really fucking good. I haven't had enough time to actually play it since there's so many fucking things going on anymore and the holidays, but I do plan on playing more of it ASAP because now more content's being added. But damn good game, a great spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series, and I think they have one hell of a formula to keep it going.
do you know if they talked any more about potentially fixing some of the issues that I had with it, like with single player progression and all the difficulty and stuff?
They're fixing all that stuff and giving a full-on single-player experience, but they haven't said anything about like trophies since it's meant to be a co-op game, and they make it obvious. I can't imagine playing those games solo. That just doesn't make sense to me, really. But you know, they are adding some stuff in the game, and there is a lot of content coming, like for the cooperative experience and stuff. I'm assuming it's going to have a single-player version, but I don't know how the hell that's going to work for single players. I don't know. It's the same with Left 4 Dead. It was never meant to be a single player game. So, yeah, so I don't know how the experience will change. But, you know, it's going to be the same Back 4 Blood experience with more shit even added, more cards, more operators and all that. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to add. My buddy just game shared it with me, so I'm not paying a damn dime for it. So realistically, for me, I got it made.
And what about, have they announced anything when it comes to like DLCs or expansions or anything like that?
Yeah, the first expansion, I gotta assume when it's coming out. They had a roadmap and all that good stuff.
Oh, okay. Because I honestly, I haven't heard anything about the game since it came out, so I had no idea like what exactly they were doing with it. But
they have free updates coming, and they have expansions that are available through the season pass. So that's pretty. Whether it's weapons, new characters, new cards, new levels. Apparently, the game itself has 68 million players, so that's pretty damn cool. But yeah, they're just going to keep adding to that experience, probably add some more enemies and random ragers, probably, if I had to assume, knowing Back 4 Blood. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those players are from Xbox Game Pass, because if I'm not mistaken, the game is on there. So
it is on Game Pass. Yep. So that definitely helped them out a lot, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my number 3, I'm gonna go with a game that surprised the hell out of me, honestly. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. And now I love Marvel stuff, so I'm not that surprised, but I'm surprised by the actual quality of the game itself. Because I think I talked about it even before the game came out, that I was very much worried about how this game would turn out. Because it was being published by Square Enix, which they already published, if you guys didn't know, they already published the Avengers game. And as most of you probably know, I've talked shit about it many times here on the HexxedPhenom Gamescast, that it is just not a good game. The Avengers game is not a good game. No matter how much shit they add to it, it's a sinking ship at this point. Which is why I was really surprised to see that Square Enix kind of learned their lesson and actually made a fun single-player Guardians of the Galaxy game that still does focus on an entire group of characters with the Guardians, but you play as just Star-Lord, and you can kind of, there's different like skill trees for the different Guardians, so you can upgrade them and get, new power-ups for each of them. And there's a ton of cool costumes that have a ton of cool references to the comics and the movies. And it's a hell of a lot of fun. Like if anybody out there likes Marvel and likes Guardians, I think you will love this game. Because I know I had a hell of a lot of fun. I'm going to go back and platinum it here pretty soon, probably. I'm just missing like 2 trophies. But yeah, the dialogue is great. The graphics are pretty damn good. And honestly, like, I think I might like this video game rendition of the Guardians of the Galaxy more than I like the versions of the characters from the MCU. At least for certain characters, that's definitely the case. I don't know about, overall as a whole group. But, man, I'm still just so surprised by this game. Oh, yeah, and I can't move on before we talk about the soundtrack of the game, because it's so fucking good.
Right.
The movies already have a great soundtrack, but the game is pretty much solely focused on, like, 80s like rock and metal, and so there's like Take On Me, that song. There's Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. They came up with they have an entire like album of like fake metal music that they made up for the game from a band called Star-Lord, and so that stuff is surprisingly really good as well. And it fits in perfectly with the rest of the soundtrack. It's just the soundtrack. Everything about the game is great, honestly. I will say, like, towards the end of the campaign, I did get a little bored with the combat sometimes. That it felt a little samey or a little boring. But
ignore that.
But what I will say is that the campaign's pretty short. It's like, I don't know, 10 to 12 hours, I would say. So by the time you get bored of the combat, or at least for me, by the time I was starting to get bored of it, the game was already over. So it's a nice, short and sweet, like 8 to 10, 10 to 12, somewhere around there, hours. And I really, really was surprised by it. I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what is up.
But JP, let's hear about your number 2 favorite game of 2021.
My number 2 game is Far Cry 6. Greatest Far Cry game they've ever put out. Greatest DLC season they've ever had. I know we only got 1 so far, but I can tell you it's already better than all the Far Cry DLC because Far Cry never gave a fuck about their DLC before. So it's kind of cool to actually see them give a shit and actually give something the players want. I said it before many times. I really think the Far Cry 3 remaster could easily happen in this engine because they already started doing that for Voss's DLC. So why the hell not just build the whole map out of it? But yeah, Far Cry 6 is really something. I really just can't even put in the words how damn good the game is compared to all the other Far Cries. There's always something to do on there. The cooperative experience is great. I would really like if they brought in the Far Cry arcade feature from 5. I thought that was a really interesting feature. But yeah, given what they have and the cast that they have in it, I think they knocked it out of the park. It's really that transcending game, and it's interesting how it really brings the series full circle after 6 installments. Usually you're lucky if that ever happens in a game that is 6 in, even movies for that matter. So that's why I put it at number 2. I think we could all already guess probably what my number 1 is going to be, but Far Cry 6 is my number 2. How about you, sir?
Well, before I move on to the number 2, since you brought up Far Cry again, I just want to delve a little bit deeper into my thoughts on Far Cry. Like I was saying before, I do really like the game. It was my first Far Cry experience. I will say, like I said, and me and you have kind of had this conversation on a party chat once or twice. Or no, we definitely did have it recently. I remember. Is that I was saying that you can kind of tell how like Ubisoft kind of took the blueprint that they learned from the first couple Assassin's Creed games, and now they just copy and paste that into every new open world game that they have. And they just change the terminology a little bit to fit the universe that they're putting it into.
Yep.
But like the objectives are always the exact same. Like you go to an outpost, you kill all the enemies there, now you take the outpost. Granted, maybe it's only called an outpost in Far Cry, and then maybe in Assassin's Creed it's called, like, I don't know, a Templar something. Or like in The Division it's called a freaking den or something like that. But it's usually the same thing. But so that is like one thing that did kind of hold it back for me, is even though I'd never played a Far Cry game before, I've played many Ubisoft open world games before, and they usually play pretty similarly to each other. And then a couple of the other complaints I had about Far Cry 6, and granted, I don't know, maybe I skipped a cutscene or maybe I wasn't paying attention somewhere, but I feel like the ending felt like it was out of nowhere, and I don't know if it was supposed to be that way or if it was just something that I missed. But that I wasn't super happy about. It just felt kind of abrupt. And then the only other thing gameplay-wise that I wasn't a huge fan of was the whole ammo system, which early on I thought it would be more annoying than it is. But so for those that haven't played it, basically you have 5 different ammo types. And each different type of enemy is weak and resistant to different types. So like, just say a normal unarmored enemy, they are weak to soft target rounds, but they are, for whatever reason, resistant to armor piercing rounds or whatever. Like it's weird. And so typically you want to try to have weapons with each ammo type on you at a time, but you can't do that because you can only hold a certain amount of weapons at a time. And you have to go to workbenches to change over your different ammo types. So you can only hold 4 out of the 5 at a time. So if you are holding, whatever, say if you need poison rounds and none of your guns have poison rounds on them, then you're kind of fucked. But I will say, like, once you got, it seems kind of ass backwards to me. It actually mattered more in the early game than it did in the late game. Because once you got to the late game, most of your weapons were so powerful that it literally didn't matter what ammo type you had on it, and you could just shred through most of the enemies anyways. So I kind of don't understand what the point was, but I don't know.
I like how they literally took everything that worked in every Far Cry game and put it in this game. That's what I love the most about it. Like, you find elements of every goddamn Far Cry. If you played all the games and stuff, you'd see all the elements happening at once, and it's like, damn, this is really cool how it's so unison and put together that they actually realize what worked, instead of being like, yeah, we got to do something new. It's like, why do we got to do something new? We already know what works, So it's going to be quite interesting. But yeah, Far Cry 6.
I really hope. Well, I guess this was like the only big news that happened this week, but I wanted to talk about it since we're talking about a Ubisoft game. I just hope they don't bring NFTs to the next Far Cry game. I think they will, but I don't know if you heard about this, but Ubisoft started selling NFTs in the Ghost Recon, whatever the most recent Ghost Recon game is, Breakpoint or Ghost Protocol. I don't fucking know.
I don't understand NFTs. I thought it was hilarious when South Park made fun of them, though. It really shows like what people think of NFTs. Like, people are just suckers. But hey, it's always happened. If there's any way to make money, you bet your ass they're gonna do it. And if people want to be that goddamn dumb, then, well, why not? Why not have the money just siphon out of the hose? Boom.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck, you could literally have all that money in their pool. But yeah, I heard they were doing some of that shit. I'm like, ugh. Saw tried doing that too. I was like, oh my god.
See, like, I already think and granted, I know everybody has their differing opinions, but like, the idea of NFTs in general to me is pretty dumb. But putting it in a video game to me seems even more dumb. Because, like, to me at least, and I don't know if I have all this information correctly, but the way I have heard about NFTs and stuff is, so essentially, let's take the example from this Ubisoft game. So essentially, you would like say pay, I don't know, let's just say like $30 for this skin that comes with this NFT, or that is the NFT. And essentially all it means is you get this unique skin that has like a serial number attached to it. And basically you get some type of like crypto coin associated with it. And the crypto coin is the thing that actually holds all the value. And it's just that the in-game skin is connected to it. So basically, then you're playing it like any other cryptocurrency where you're just waiting to see where if the value of the coin goes up and goes down, or like, you know, whatever cycle happens with it. And you obviously want to buy low, sell high, you know, whatever. But the thing that doesn't make sense to me in the video game sense is like, the thing with, say, stocks in crypto is you want to buy low and then wait a long time and, you know, see it go higher and higher and higher. But that's not going to happen with a skin in a video game. Video games have finite life cycles. So, like, by the time the next Ghost Recon game comes out, the value of this thing is going to tank. And you bought it for $20, and it's going to be worth, like, pennies in, like, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's what I'm... It just seems like a dumb idea. I just can't get over how they did it in South Park. It literally was the greatest thing ever, because it's exactly what people try to do. It's like, have you heard of NFTs? They're like, you privately own it. It's all yours. And then someone could buy it. I just love how Butters is like in the future as Vic trying to sell off NFTs, and like he's locked away, and like he'll turn anything into an NFT pitch. Oh God, you didn't give him a piece of paper, did you? Oh, I did. Oh my God. He's just sitting there talking to people. Hey man, you want NFTs?
Oh, you want NFTs?
Well, yeah, so that's how I feel about NFTs.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is stupid. I mean, like, the way I understand it is you're just gambling on a crypto coin that has zero inherent value. Like, the only value is just based on what other people will buy it for. Whereas at least like Bitcoin and Ethereum, like, you can actually, not in a lot of places, but more and more places are actually starting to accept those type of cryptocurrencies as like actual payment for things. Whereas the coins that are minted to go with these NFTs are just one-off, like, random coins that someone comes up with. And it's just like, I don't know. The whole thing is weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boomer. I don't know. But
yep, exactamundo.
But JP, my number 2 is the other arcade racing game I was talking about, and that is Forza Horizon 5. This game is just the Forza Horizon games are just such a pinnacle of quality when it comes to the arcade racing game. And it skates the line between arcade and simulation, which I think is, I mean, it makes sense given, you know, the pedigree that Forza has as a simulation racing game normally. But like, it manages to feel so different than something like a Need for Speed, but also so similar at the same time, if that makes sense. Because like in Need for Speed, I would say those games are most known for, like, you know, nitrous around every corner, drift around every corner, like, you know, all these crazy mods that you can do for your cars. And it does have a little bit of like the crazy mod stuff for your cars, but there's not really nitrous. And you can drift, but it's like, I wouldn't say it's exactly simulation drifting, but it's a lot harder to do than just pretty much every Need for Speed game. All you have to do is just hit the brake and you're just fucking sideways, like, instantly. So the Forza Horizon games definitely take a lot of skill to learn how to do some of those things, like drifting, and there's so much to the Forza Horizon games that I couldn't possibly explain it in a short amount of time. There's, you know, new like little mini campaign missions that you go around and help the different people of Mexico, you know, build up the different Horizon festivals. There's different stories. Like, there's one where you're doubling as like a stunt double for like a local film company. And so you're going around like doing all these crazy, like almost like the Stuntman games, if you remember those. You'll do crazy scenes like that.
I want them to remake Stuntman. I think that'd be a great remake.
I used to love those games.
Oh, those games were amazing. PS2, baby.
But there's like stuff like that. There's photo challenges where you go around and like it'll task you to take a photo of your car, or like, you know, do a drift in front of like, you know, the town square in like, you know, in whatever town, or, you know, take your Jeep up to the top of the volcano, and just like random shit like that. Or there's ones for, you know, like an underground street racing scene, and like all these different like little mini campaigns that you can do. And then, of course, there's just the actual, like, racing. And then you have the weekly festival playlist that refresh every week and give you all the new exclusive cars that you have to earn through them. There's just so much to do in that game. And I don't know how many hours I've put into it, but I've put a lot in, and I still haven't even finished the content of the base game, let alone the weekly refreshes. And I'm sure they usually are able to pump these expansions out really quickly, so I wouldn't be surprised if in like February we hear about the first expansion already. So,
surprised at all. I really wouldn't be.
Forza Horizon, just a great racing game. If you like cars and racing games at all, definitely check it out. I think you will have a ton of fun between off-road racing, street racing, drifting, all the crazy stuff. It's so much fun.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
But JP, I want to know, what is your favorite game of 2021?
Oh, well, that's an easy one for me.
Wow.
And it's Call of Duty Vanguard. That's my number one this year. I love history, and the fact that this game, given what went into it and how it turned out, really happy with it. A lot of historical fronts. Tell you the truth, to me, it just feels like World at War all over again on the PS5. So that's another tie-in that I think Activision has the engine they need to remake the campaign for World at War. If they ever want to do it, I think that's all they have to do is take the IW engine and do it. But yeah, this game really has a little bit of everything. I know Zombies is a little short coming out of the gate, but you know, at least they're starting to make a lot of bugs, like bug fixes, tweaks, starting to add in content. So hopefully they kind of get the act together. I know a lot of people are pissed about no survival maps, but get with it. It's literally an evolving concept now. Ever since Outbreak, I knew it was going to happen. But yeah, you know, looking at everything they have in the multiplayer itself is goddamn addicting. It's the first Call of Duty game I've had multiple classes for since World at War. So there's a lot of nostalgic tie-ins for me with this game. You know, like World War II didn't really give me everything I wanted from a COD route kind of game, but I will say that Vanguard definitely did it. I think it definitely went the extra mile past what World War II could have done. But yeah, and I'm really excited to see what the next centric war game is going to be. If I had to guess, it'll probably be the Fog of War cut game in Vietnam. That would be really cool to see. I got to give it the trailer because it's like the third goddamn game they put out in a row. I swear they're the only ones that are saving COD at this point. I can't imagine what would happen if other studios were involved. The only thing I do wonder is how is it going to affect their next actual installment game on the yearly cycle?
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll figure something out. I mean, Cold War turned out great from where it began, so I think Vanguard's going to be the same way. I think it's great knowing that essentially we are getting that World at War experience since they are remastering the multiplayer maps for the first time ever. I think it's cool seeing that Shipment is in the damn game. I heard Terminal's coming in and a few others. So I feel like we're going to get a good mix and match of nostalgia vibes throughout this this DLC season that they're thinking of. But I will say it's a phenomenal game, you know, given the circumstances. I think they really pulled it off for the development cycles for this game. I mean, like thousands of people from around the world during the pandemic made it. It's just,
yeah,
it's kind of crazy, but it really does show really where we're at in the video game industry. You know, you can't have a fuck ton of people in studios anymore. And it just really kind of serves as that time setting piece. And it's like, oh, wow, like these people made it at home and just emailed and all this other crazy shit to each other. It's really crazy knowing video games can be made under those circumstances, but Yeah, Vanguard for me knocked it out of the park. And there are shortcomings, but they're easily fixable. Cold War is a good example. So I think in the end we're going to be looking at a pretty big slew of content. And if they ever decide to do the World of War campaign remaster, I think they found their engine without a doubt.
Yeah. So I'll talk about Vanguard real quick before I move on. So for me, I'm definitely not as high on it as you are. I do like the game. I will say the game is definitely a lot better than I expected it to be, because honestly, when I heard it was on the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, I was fully prepared to not even buy the game, because I am one of them. I don't know. I feel like I see mostly positive remarks on social media about Modern Warfare 2019. So I feel like I'm in the minority when I say that I do not like Modern Warfare 2019 whatsoever, anything about it, other than the campaign. The campaign was absolutely incredible. I think one of the best Call of Duty campaigns we've ever got, if not the best. But multiplayer was horrible. I think it was far too slow. It felt, I don't want to say clunky, because all of the new animations and stuff felt really good, but like it was just far too slow. It was far too campy because all of the maps were designed fucking horribly. They made the horrible decision of only making, like, at launch, I think there was like 4 or 5 maps that were specifically designed for 6v6. You could play, I think, on up to like 8 or 9 maps for 6v6, but a lot of them were 10v10 or 20v20 maps cut down to be 6v6 maps, which doesn't work at all. And literally all of the maps except for Shipment and Shoot House, which was 2 of the first DLC maps that came out for the game, one of which being a remaster from COD 4. Yeah. Those were the only maps that were even playable, and they weren't really they were pretty much only around in like specific playlists. Well, you could find them in the normal playlist, but there was only ever like a 24/7 playlist during Double XP weekends. So otherwise you had to just deal with the shitty maps. And then Spec Ops was basically useless. I literally don't even think I've played it at all. Like, I don't think I launched the mode once.
I think it's interesting knowing that another developer used another developer's engine and mastered that engine when they don't work in that engine. It was just really kind of strange, like, seeing the Modern Warfare engine in Vanguard. But, like, tell you the truth, I think it works better for the Sledgehammer games than Infinity Ward. And speaking of that, the next Modern Warfare game, I don't even know if I don't think I'm even gonna buy it. I'll probably just get it for Christmas, because I don't got to pay money, because it's going to be the same shit that they did with Modern Warfare. I mean, the campaign sure might be good, but you already know the same maps are going to be tracked the same way. And I couldn't get into Modern Warfare at all besides the campaign. Like, at least Vanguard took that engine and actually, like, gave it a life. It just seems like it works so much better for Sledgehammer than Infinity War, or Ward, I should say.
With Infinity War, though, it's not that they don't know how to use the engine. It's just those were the decisions they made when crafting the game, to make it slow and methodical, to make it campy. And even in interviews leading up to the game coming out, they said all this shit. They were like, no, we want to make it easier for newer players, and that's why the skill-based matchmaking is in place. And that's why, I mean, granted, that's around to stay. That's going to be in every Call of Duty game forever now. But that's why the maps are designed like shit. That's why there was, just so much random bullshit in the game. That's why spawns were so bad for most of the game's life cycle, or at least as long as I played it. That's why it was so slow. They wanted to discourage people from running around and moving, because they wanted the slower, more methodical, newer players to be able to play the game and not just get, rushed on by some guy, like, sliding around the map with an MP5.
Yeah, no, it's just.
But I really like what Vanguard did, making it faster, more fluid. The maps are not great. I will say that they're not great, but they are definitely way better than the Modern Warfare 2019 maps. I still do prefer, like, a lot of the remade maps. Like, I mean, Shipment is a clusterfuck. The spawns are absolutely horrible on that, but it's Shipment. You kind of can't expect anything more. Yeah, but I mean, even like both versions of Dome are really good. I still have yet to play Castle. I don't know what the hell's wrong with the game. I don't know if it's in multiplayer playlist. I literally haven't played it.
Oh, it is. It's there. I always found it on the small map playlist.
Maybe that's why.
Dome. Yeah, they're all World of War essentially, besides like 4 or 5 maps, had all small maps. But that was 2008, so you know that it was just the time that they were working with. But there are some medium-sized maps. But yeah, World of War basically had smaller tier level maps, and I think it worked perfect for what's happening. Vanguard seems to be in the same formula, which is another connection between the pack. I think at this point they should just remaster the campaign for World of War, because they apparently in this whole DLC season, I think the best maps from World of War are going to be added. I still haven't played Dome from Modern Warfare 3. So there's some maps I'm missing. Castle turned out great. I think Courtyard's another map that they put in. I can't remember, but yeah, at least we're getting to see a lot of nostalgia, and I think they're trying to take a different approach with this game. I just don't know how Modern Warfare 2.2 or whatever the hell it is.
Modern Warfare 2.2.
Yeah. Sarb. So, yeah. The way I'm taking this is I feel like this is going to be the last like really good Call of Duty till Treyarch comes back once again in 2023 and saves Call of Duty, because I'm sure Modern Warfare 2.2 is not going to get the job done.
I think if Modern Warfare took more of a Vanguard approach and made it like more faster and didn't punish aggressive players as much, it would make the game a lot better. I don't know if they would actually like, I would hope that they also took the criticism to heart about the map designs, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it might be the first Call of Duty game since what? Well, I guess technically Black Ops 1 I didn't get at launch. I got it like a week and a half later, but it'll be the first Call of Duty game that I don't buy right away since I started playing Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 2. So, oddly enough, the first Modern Warfare 2 was my first Call of Duty game, and the second Modern Warfare 2 is the one that I'm considering hopping off for. So, that's weird how it kind of comes full circle, but
yeah, I just I don't really get it, you know. I do like COD's never gonna die for many reasons, but I just kind of wish
definitely not.
I just wish Infinity Ward would get their shit together, because if you keep note, they have never made another successful Call of Duty outside of Modern Warfare. They just suck. I liked Ghost, but let's be real, that plummeted. Then they made Infinite Warfare. I don't even want to talk about that game. And then they come back with this whole, well, we got to reincarnate. Well, we got to remaster our original game. Then we got to make a Modern Warfare game. And then it comes out and it's half-baked as hell. I got the original Modern Warfare for Christmas, and I'm sure I'll repeat that tradition with Modern Warfare 2.2, because oh
shit, did we lose?
I don't know, man. Oh, no. Yeah, that we're still here. Yeah. I just remember trying to play, and I'm like, this game sucks. Yeah. And then Warzone came out, and everybody like forgot about how bad the game was because Warzone happened. I'm like, well,
to be fair, I don't like Warzone either. So,
and I fucking hate Warzone. And I think it's funny because Warzone is not technically Modern Warfare; it is a separate game, so that does not count. I still think it's equally as horrible, though. You know,
I'm surprised that, I mean, not to dwell on Modern Warfare, talking about Modern Warfare and Vanguard too long, but I'm still surprised that they haven't spun Vanguard off onto its own like game client yet, that you still have to download Modern Warfare to play Warzone.
Yeah, I think that's probably coming, and I think it's funny how all the people that are like, oh man, ever since Vanguard's update happened, we can't play. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't live on a game that's dead and buried and released almost 2.5 years ago. So, you know, I think it's funny. People are getting spiteful and they want new updates. And I'm like, dude, you're sitting on an old game. Get the fuck over it.
So. No, I mean, to be fair, like when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, I feel like it is a great case on why Warzone should have been on its own game client, because updates to Warzone can fuck up Modern Warfare. And that was an oversight that they should have seen coming, to be fair. But I think even though I don't like Modern Warfare, I think it should still be able to be played, because I mean, nowadays, I mean, you can even go all the way back to like Call of Duty 4, the original Call of Duty 4, and you can still hop on and play multiplayer. I mean, all you're going to find is hackers, but you can still hop on and find some multiplayer matches. So I think from a preservation standpoint, they should get their shit together and fix the Modern Warfare multiplayer and so that people can actually play it. But that's neither here nor there. JP, I am going to tell you what my favorite game of 2021 is. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So my favorite game of 2021 is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh, shit.
I love Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, I will admit I'm not like, I don't claim to be the biggest, like, you know, Ratchet and Clank fan or anything like that. I'm actually like a relatively a noob to the series, kind of. So my first Ratchet game was 2016. Then I went back and played a couple of the ones on PlayStation Now. I played Into the Nexus and A Crack in Time. Which Into the Nexus is, I'm pretty sure, is like the game that leads into the events of Rift Apart. So, as far as I can tell, Ratchet & Clank 2016 has nothing to do with Rift Apart, which is an interesting decision, but whatever. But Rift Apart is just so much fun, and it's so fluid and just incredibly beautiful on PS5. And I know that people say this about a lot of games nowadays, but it literally looks like a Pixar movie. Like you are playing a Pixar movie the whole time. It looks absolutely incredible.
That's cool.
The new characters are funny and heartwarming. Rivet and Kit, I believe, is their names. They're like basically alternate dimension versions of Ratchet and Clank. But they're really cool. All of the different environments are so fucking beautiful. You know, all the different abilities and the guns. The guns are so great. They all feel awesome. I love the way they implemented the different DualSense features, like the adaptive triggers and stuff. A lot of games will just do like a half-ass thing like Call of Duty where it's just like, oh, it's harder to press the trigger. And it's just like, well, the way Ratchet and Clank does it is, say, like the one weapon is a double barrel shotgun. So if you just barely like pull in the right trigger, you'll shoot off just one shot of your double barrel. If you fully press it down, you'll shoot off both shots at once, and it'll be like kind of like a little like explosion type of thing. And it's really fucking fun. And like pretty much almost every weapon has some type of function like that, where if you just pull the trigger a little bit, it'll do one thing, and if you fully pull it down, it'll do another thing. And so that really adds a lot of dynamic to the weapons, and it almost makes it like you have double the amount of weapons, because they act almost entirely differently, some of them. So there's that, and it's just yeah, and it's just a ton of fun. And they kind of leave it off in a place where there's multiple different directions they can go. So I'm excited for the future of Ratchet and Clank. I don't know where they'll go from here. I also don't know when we'll get a new Ratchet and Clank game. And I mean, Insomniac, they're a bunch of fucking animals. They're insane. So even though they have 2 new games announced right now, I could also see within like a year them announcing a new Ratchet and Clank. And somehow they'll release Spider-Man 2, a new Ratchet and Clank, and Wolverine somehow within like an 18-month period, because they're insane.
Not bad, not bad.
Which, I mean, isn't too far off from what they already did with Spider-Man, because they did Spider-Man in 2018, then they did Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered in 2020, and then Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in 2021. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hear about Ratchet and Clank sooner than we would think. But Insomniac, right now, I think they are my favorite PlayStation developer, just because they're a fucking workhorse. Like, it's in their name, but I really think they just straight up don't sleep at Insomniac games. They're just insane. And the quality and quantity is there for their games. They're all incredible. And I can't wait for Spider-Man 2 and the next Ratchet game and Wolverine, and it's all going to be fucking great.
Hell yeah, man. That's what's up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Glad that all worked. Oh, hell yeah.
But JP, this has been our top 3 favorite games of 2021. Again, before we head out, guys, I want to wish you all a safe and happy holidays. Whatever holidays you choose to celebrate, I hope you guys have a great time. And we are going to go and do the same. I mean, tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I have work tomorrow. I don't know about you, but after I get out of work, then I can start to celebrate, and it'll be great.
Hell yeah, that's what's up, brother.
But guys, this has been the HexxedPhenom Gamescast, the show that brings you the video game news you need to know each and every Saturday, or every week, I should say. It goes live every Saturday on youtube.com/HexxedPhenom and on podcast services around the globe. Guys, until next time, Phenom out.